Hill Sr. and my co-host and engineer is Andre Hill Jr. You want to say?
Hey, fam, what's going on? Just checking on these controls over here. That's all.
So we're having a minor technical difficulty. I knew this show was going to really cause some problems, but hey, it is what it is. Just keep doing what you do. Yeah, so anyway, as usual, Friday nights I posted my topics, and for today, and the topics read, good morning, Facebook friends. This morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Straight Talk Morning Show, as reported on NBC and CBS, an American Airlines Flight 2292 pilot reported a cylindrical Cylindrical.
Cylindrical.
I had that word together, and it still messed up. Object, which is a UFO, flying overhead its craft at a high rate of speed. There are only two possible outcomes of this incident, and we will discuss them on the show this morning. All of the professional sports and entertainment careers are about to change. How will this affect our children? We're going to have also coming up next week a couple of experts on what's going on with our children in terms of with this COVID, being home in school and their future careers. So we're going to talk on that and a three-part series on reclaiming your souls and the consequences. So there's no way you can cover that all in one show. So every week we're going to give some more indicators as to situations where people have compromised their souls. And, in the last show we talked about most of them did it under duress. And that duress is a result of ignorance, not knowing the consequences of your action. So now what this show is doing is bringing the knowledge to you so that you can make wise decisions and use the under duress clause to reclaim your soul because you didn't know. So we're going to be working on that piece. We have so many people, especially in the political arena, as we're going to talk about Noam Chomsky, the narrator of Requiem for the American Dream. This site particularly, or this show cites the trend of divide by the illusionary rich. And then we also stated that we know which ETs are misguiding them. So be sure to tune in. Mm-hmm. All right. So under the first topic of the American pilot. So here's what was reported. It was, and I was surprised it was on NBC the other night. And basically it reads, the American pilot reports long cylindrical object zoomed by while flying over New Mexico. An American Airlines pilot saw what he described as a long cylindrical object zoom over the jetliner he was flying to Phoenix in the skies above New Mexico on Sunday. The FBI said it's aware of the incident, and the Pentagon said that the military wasn't conducting any tests in that area that day. Mm-hmm. Let's see. So this is the transmission that went down with the pilot to radar. Do you have any targets up here? And one of the pilots of American Airlines Flight 2292 asked air traffic controllers. According to a recording of the transmission obtained by CBS News, we just had something go right over the top of us. I hate to say this, looked like a long cylindrical object that almost looked like a cruise missile type of thing moving really fast that went right over the top of us.
Okay.
All right. So you didn't hear about this report, right?
I heard about it.
Well, put it like this, I heard about it from you, right? And then I looked up the story and looked up several different reports of the story. And, they're all fairly consistent. Some of them are a bit different, to be honest with you. Now, that's neither here nor there. That's the journalist world. But but still the main point, a cylindrical object flying at an airplane. So this is one of the differences between one of the reports that I read and another one. That one of the reporters got access to some commentary from ex-military personnel on what they think it could have been. And they just described an entirely, not an entirely different situation, but somewhat of a different situation as far as more detail on how this cylindrical object was traveling, as far as from what direction, right? So the one I read was the one that was a little bit more detailed, was that the object did not fly from behind them. It didn't fly, and then coming from beside the plane, it was coming straight at them, and then flew over the plane. Okay. Right. So they had the ability to see this coming at them before it flew over top of them.
All right. So, once again, airline pilots, they've reported these sort of incidents over and over again, but they are really fearful of talking about UFOs because the culture with the FAA is basically to kill your career if you talk about. You're supposed to ignore them and just keep flying the plane and not get into the semantics of acknowledging these UFOs. But the issue here is there are two possible outcomes. There's only two. It could have been man-made, all right, and the other one is it was an authentic extraterrestrial vehicle piloted by an advanced civilization that's been visiting this planet since the beginning of time as we know it. So here we are. We have a bill attached to the stimulus request stating that the intelligence community has from January 180 days to reveal all the intel that they have on extraterrestrial interactions, engagements. I don't have the complete wording, but right now there's going to be pressure by both sides meaning whatever human beings that have retrofitted or reverse engineered crashed UFOs, and now starting to experiment with them or get them off the ground, they are, especially they're being pressured to either continue this campaign of deception or come up with a plan that the 1%ers need to continue with the illusion of enslaving humans. The authentic, if it was an authentic alien craft flown by an advanced civilization, they are trying to help the humans, the 99%ers, in getting the confidence to start confronting these low vibrational 1% humans who wants to be gods, kings, and dictators and continue to employ or implement AI and to continue enslaving our people. So if it's a man-made device using alien technology, then what the 1%ers are planning is what they call a false flag. And a false flag meaning that, they're going to scare the crap out of a lot of human beings by using some of this watered down technology to scare humans into continuing this slave system, because the little man behind the curtain, like in the Wizard of Oz, has been exposed. So now they're gonna have to up the game, the regular game of, and we're gonna talk about that in the Requiem of the American Dream. It's been exposed. It's a very clear picture that you got one group of people that's operating some hand-me-down technology to enslave 99% of the other people on the planet. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, all right. So let's go on into. So those are the two options. Option one is a man-made by the military-industrial complex of equipment that's watered down, and they're prepping you for a false flag, so they continue. Or number two, it is a extraterrestrial craft that's being piloted by high vibrational entities that want the 99% to come together. So there are different societies and groups out there, ufologist groups. I strongly urge you to come together. One of the things that we're recommending, and we had a politician come to us and say we need to put together our own PACs, and that involves money. And there's always a stickler of trust when you put these PACs together. And these PACs can be used to hire attorneys, influence a lot of the politicians, and letting them know that your corporate sponsor, we're going to override them. One, we're going to override them by boycotting their services if they continue to influence you to sell out your people. And that's basically it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah. So
I got you.
Yeah. So what we're dealing with a situation where we're at that end time, or that precipice where we are being forced as the 99%ers to come together and challenge the 1%ers, because it's just that they're maintaining an antiquated program that was left here many years ago. All right, so the second topic is dealing with the, as a result of COVID, which is a tool of depopulation. And so we have these professional sports, and all of them has been affected by COVID because people are not, going to the arenas anymore. A lot of the entertainment groups, they can't put on concerts to make the money they're making, because now streaming music, they're not making money from selling albums and tapes the way they did back in my day.
Right.
They're making their money.
Even back in my day.
Yeah.
Selling CDs.
Yeah.
That's the same.
So so from a technical standpoint, you can basically download the music for free anywhere, right?
Right.
Okay.
So what's happening now is, it's changed. The entire game has changed. A lot of the money is being made through, basically what platform you put your productions on, right? And advertisements. So that, same reason YouTube has upped the ante on the commercials, on the YouTube videos that you see. Now that's some similar tactics to that. That's how entertainment industry is still making their money.
All right. So what is happening now? You got all of these kids. First of all, you got millions of kids that are preparing to become professional athletes, whether it's soccer, football, basketball. You have a lot of kids that are working to become artists, from singing and all of that. And now they're being manipulated into, a very strange format,
What do you mean?
Well, because now they don't have the medium to go out and play. Pretty soon, these empty stadiums is going to deplete a lot of these professional sports and their reserves. And so, so very soon their contracts are going to have to be renegotiated.
Yeah.
A lot of the entertainers that are, that are singing, that are selling out these venues, a lot of those venues, they've been shut down. So, how they're going to make money.
Right.
All right. So what is happening, from this COVID piece, which is a component of what we're going to talk about with the Requiem of the American Dream, is called concentrated wealth. So now all of these different groups that thought they had a little bit of money or they were rich, that money is going to be depleted. And all of that was planned with this COVID virus. And so now you got all these little kids that, first of all, there are only 3, maybe 4, maybe 5,000 positions in the professional arena.
Right.
Okay. And then when you add in these superstar performers, so if you got 1 million children that building their lives and basing it around, I'm going to be a superstar one day. All of that narrative has changed.
Yes, it has. Yes, it has.
Yeah. So now, in addition to that, the kids are not being able to show their wares or be exploited, and they're sitting at home. They're falling behind with the school lesson, and when you think about a lot of them, the discipline of so many of them is going out the windows because some of those parents, they got to go out and work, so they're not going to be at home working with those kids. Have you been receiving any feedback
from old parents?
Yeah,
about how they're adjusting to this, this new type of lifestyle. I mean, a lot of them are making it work. I don't have any kids, so no, like you said, I'd have to get feedback, but everybody's pretty much still, surviving this and going through the motions with it, basically. As far as more interaction with the children, I mean, to some extent, especially during the beginning of this, when most of the kids had to stay home and attend school that way, some parents were getting a little bit more, interaction with their child, especially regarding school, right? Yeah, I mean, it's an entirely different terrain right now, and I can't speak, very, very knowledgeable about it because, like I say, I don't have any children. I don't know, but for the most part, what I do hear is, they want to see these children get back into school. They're tired of sitting around looking at their children in the house on the computer all the time. But other than that, it's because the question you're asking me is, what type of, deep societal change have we seen, regarding this? And, there's been a tangible change, but as far as a change of the mindset, like you say, have I received any feedback or seen any evidence of that? Not entirely. Not entirely.
So what do you think, you got a lot of parents too that are looking for a ticket out of poverty, and they may have kids in high school, elementary school, college, and they've been going to these practices, hoping that their kid make the NFL, the NBA, or a soccer team and make millions so they can get them out of poverty. How do you think that's changing the dynamics in the family? Because it's got to be stressful. Huh?
Yeah, but that's not a new dynamic, right? That's not a new dynamic. That's been going on for the last at least 40 years, right? So I don't think COVID has really, really jolted or rocked that mind state or dynamic. As long as there is a sports arena, on in all the various sports there are, that mind state is going to be there. But yeah.
Okay, so let's look at the COVID situation. All right, it's a double-edged sword. Number one, you have these families, they're sending kids to college, and they or they're sending them to school, and they're hoping that they can become entertainers. And and the hope for that is that child, even though they see professional athletes, with their bling, driving in fancy cars, and they're saying, I can be just like that too. And, so they're moving into a realm, it's like, it's a cycle. Like every year, a whole new crop of kids are coming out with aspirations of making it in these professional sports. And it's like COVID has just shut that down. Is this a double-edged sword by the low vibrational ETs and the high vibrational ETs are saying, where the high vibrational ETs are saying, this is a cycle that we need to break, because these kids are delusional. They're chasing this golden realm for fame and fortune. And they end up, maimed physically from these sports of competing against each other, and then then the corruption of being able to stay in the entertainment field in the limelight of living on high on the hog, and where you have a division of a small group of people enjoying wealth, and then a large group of people are still poor and living in the poverty, and they're hoping that these icons or these professional individuals are going to go back into the community and help out. So there's a vicious cycle going here on with what's going on with the COVID situation, and this all ties into the grand theme of things in terms of the high vibrational extraterrestrials and the low vibrational, or for those that are still going to church, between good and evil, or the demons and angels, that kind of thing. So this is all playing out. A lot of people want to say, well, we're dealing with revelations, this is the end time, but these things have changed and changed the whole paradigm tremendously, and to get people to think about what they're doing, and definitely encouraging your child, you're going to make it in the NBA, or you're going to make it in these sports, and all it takes is one play to end that career. So the ETs that allowed this COVID thing to happen is also kind of a wake-up call. What do you think?
Yeah, well, another thing too, we're going to have to qualify, if we're going to get into the subject of, ET influence, then we're going to have to really qualify for the people that's watching and following, what is it that we're talking about? So, because, regardless of, anybody who's watching or following, or when they run across this video, whatever the case, where if they are not, just usually interested in the topic, but will entertain the topic, they're not, just completely, brainwashed into where they don't think logically at all. And so the point I'm getting at is people have questions about this. You feel me? People got questions. They have questions that are a little bit more sane than even a lot of the people in the ET community. With potential fanatical views are willing to address at this point, because there's a lot of people in the ET community that they're going on particular narratives without asking the right questions, and it's very, very similar to any other religious indoctrination. You feel me? Take, for instance, when we talk about ETs and we throw out the narrative that, one of the primary reasons that they even interact with this planet is to mine resources. That's a huge one in the ET community, right? In other words, what we're saying is we got this very, very advanced civilization. It's got the ability to travel through space, but they will come to this planet, this in particular planet, and manipulate humans in order to siphon resources. As far as I'm concerned, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You feel me? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. That's like us going into the jungle to go and get some monkeys and go get them to build whatever it is that we want them to build, or go and mine whatever it is that we want them to mine, right? So that means it takes a lot of manpower, training, equipping, all of that. But meanwhile, we sitting back and we already got the tools capable of doing all of this stuff to a greater capacity. So, point I'm getting at, saying all of that to say this, a lot of people they may be tuning into this, listening to this conversation and wondering, how is it that ETs have a connection to sports, to be straightforward, right? Or in other words, how do they have a connection to our economic system, right?
Right.
Or the influence of our economic system. And, my answer to that is this. and I really would just want to segue back into a point that you made earlier about um, well, was that cylindrical object man-made, or was it an actual advanced civilization with an with an advanced being piloting that object? Now, and another thing that you said was that, if it's an advanced being, then it's their attempt to say, hey, we are here to give you confidence in order to confront your own tyrannical human elites, right? But the question becomes this: is that because they're going to have the same questions for this as they have for any messiahs coming back as noted in their religion. Like, what's the deal? What you waiting on? You see what I'm saying? So, especially when you have something so, in matter of fact, maybe even more so, because in the instance of the rapture, most Christians will tell you nobody knows exactly, what Christ is going to look like, right? When it comes back, nobody has any evidence of that. On the other end, so in other words, nobody has any videos, nobody has any reports, nobody has any of that. On the other end, in the ET community, you got millions of evidential reports, either video or reports of sightings or something. And then spawning out of that, you have a whole spectrum of tangible renderings, one way or the other, whether somebody drew them or somebody took a picture, whatever the case, of some type of evidence of this. And so what that leads into is, in any human logical mind, is okay. So if they are that advanced, in other words, they got the vehicles, tools, means to come travel from somewhere else to get here and be stealth, all of that, and hide themselves, all of that. And we don't have the ability to do that. So that means obviously they are smarter and better than we are. So that means they're smarter and better than our military. What's stopping them from just showing up and saying, hey, here I am?
All right. So you're asking that question in the beginning. And the universe is, and some of the telescope companies have indicated that there are billions of stars, and there could be billions or even trillions, and the universe is continuing to expand.
Oh, it's definitely trillions.
Yeah, so in all of these life-producing components, there's a balance of negative and positive energy throughout the universe. And so what happens is that from the positive energy, high vibrational entities will evolve. And from the negative side, low vibrational entities will evolve. Not saying that either one is better without the other, because in order for you to manifest on the physical plane, you must have both positive and negative energy. You just can't be all positive, you can't just be all negative. And I think what the universe is doing as it expands, these experiences of new souls have to go through these trials and tribulations in order to evolve, to make a decision whether they're going to be on the dark side or in the side of light. And if there isn't a checking system, by the positive entities, then there will be complete darkness. And so this planet, all the other planets that's in the process of gaining and developing life, that the universe is going to make a decision. Okay, will this planet be a positive planet, or is it going to be a negative planet? Are the humans are we going to become totally artificial intelligence? There was a Star Trek entity of a group called the Borg, and they were all artificial intelligence, and there was no emotion, there were no experiences, and even though it was a fictional character of entities, it still had relevance because the positive energies had to check them because they were starting to override the entire universe. So can you imagine the entire universe being converted into machines that operate without emotion, without a feeling. So how are these souls, these new souls that are going through the evolutionary period, are going to have the experiences to make that decision whether they want to go into darkness or whether they want to go in light? So the earth is just in my book, The Second Coming, what you call a big real estate deal in the sky. So you got a group of positive energy entities that want to use this planet as balance. And so they allow the primitive humans to evolve with increments of technology so that they can understand the good and the bad of using that technology to move forward. So, so it's like a franchise. You got one here and you buy another one and you keep buying them and you get better and better at the product, and you have to make that decision. So that's the balance in the situation.
I guess.
Yeah. So going on into one of the topics here, how this is going to affect the children, and also, the continued 3-part series, Reclaiming Your Souls and Consequences. But before I go into Reclaiming Your Souls and Consequences, we're going to skip forward to Noam Chomsky, the narrator of Requiem for the American Dream. Mm-hmm. And what he did in that documentary, it was well organized, well structured, explaining how the American dream was really compromised hundreds of years ago, even when they were preparing the Constitution. Yeah. When they were preparing the Constitution, they were actually sitting there thinking, well, we want a democracy, but we really don't want a democracy, because if we lose control, we're in a position to own and be the leaders, but we got to align this Constitution with articles that will still give us control, where the 99% of the people can never come together and say, look, why are you guys the only rich guys? And we're going to vote to say, we don't want you to have all the land, all the prosperity, and we work for you, And so in that Constitution, there were components to really kill democracy. And that's what this documentary by Noam Chomsky was all about. Mm-hmm. It created the scenario for people to compromise their soul. And, one of the other things that this is what you have to take into consideration. I know we've been really gearing and going in a direction because, this show is originally about economic empowerment for poor people of color that have been left out of the equation. But it ain't just people of color. All humans are being subjected to this 1%'er's game, and so now we got to look at a broader spectrum of how do we bring all of these people that don't want to sell their soul, don't want to join this so-called Luciferian agenda and say, well, in exchange for my soul and for fame and fortune, I'm going to do the horrible things to keep humans enslaved, to keep them fighting against each other. And this documentary broke it down. But when you think about it, and here's the follow-up part of what we said on this particular subject matter. We know that which ETs are misguiding them. So I thought about this. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the guy Charles Hall, right, who was a military guy out on the West Coast. Mm-hmm. He basically explained in detail how he engaged with these tall whites, and the tall whites basically you saw the documentary, right? Because you forwarded it to me. Yeah. And you're sitting there, you're listening to Charles Hall, how he talked about his encounters, and the first thing your mind is saying, is he making up all this? Is he reading from a script?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and my discernment mechanism was like, no, he's recalling life experiences, because I talk about my life experiences all the time.
I'll second that. I've been, looking at just different accounts and reports, situations like that, of anything supernatural and or extraterrestrial for a long time. And, when you look at stuff like that for a long time, you get a particular discernment to be able to tell if somebody just making it up or not.
Yeah.
But in this particular case, this guy, Charles Hall, older Caucasian man, did he pass?
I think so.
I think he died.
Yeah.
I think he passed.
Yeah. It wasn't too long ago, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, the early 2000s.
And he was just only a little bit older than you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And, but he, still, fairly, fairly, I would say, based on the videos we saw, he didn't look, like he had any bad health or anything like that. Either way, point I'm getting at is just a very straightforward guy, down home, Caucasian guy. I forget where he was from, but he just gave you it was either he was the best actor in the world, or he was very, very, very genuine.
Yeah, it was only two, because he recalled those incidents, and it made logical sense. And for those that haven't had the privilege of watching it, it's on YouTube. Yeah. Charles Hall encounter with the tall whites.
Yeah, just look up Charles Hall tall whites, and he should pop up. Heavyset, older Caucasian guy. But yeah, just very, very humble guy. Had spent time in the military, and that's where most of his experience with the tall whites were. And he recounts a very, very riveting and interesting story.
Okay, so one of the things about the tall whites is that they lived 600 to 800 years. Okay, so I'm going to have to give a biblical reference. In the Bible, there are references that at one point humans live 600 to 800 years. Okay, and so I'm not going to dwell into that into how factual that is, but I understand that in this universe all things are possible. So the tall whites, if we go all the way back to when these group of Europeans that was developing the Constitution for the United States, the tall whites was hanging around somewhere in the early 40s, that are now might be 400 or 500 years old. Yeah. They was there manipulating these humans with their technology back then, because you think about when we go through this layout, you think about how well designed the Earth humans did not have this technology on how we're going to enslave our fellow humans, so these tall whites, and if we look at Charles Hall description and his encounters, one of the things he said is that they looked at him like he was an ape, and that he was very primitive. And they always kept defense mechanisms on them to keep Charles Hall in his place, and indicated, like, if you ever act like you're going to touch our children or get close to us without our permission, we will zap you. And so these entities, for whatever reason that they had to cut this deal with our military-industrial complex so that they can resolve, but they were very fragile. So they can't go out and put themselves, expose themselves to an environment of farming, mining, even with the computers, operating robots. They had to be very careful. They had to have a mechanism like a humanoid that can talk, that can speak, and then operate, And so, but they had no real compassion for humans. So it's nothing for them to put this system in place. Also, the reptilians. I don't think the tall whites, all they did was came in and negotiated with these the military industrial complex. But the reptilians had revenge, and going all the way back to Genesis. We talked about this a little bit last week. And the reptilians are the ones that control all the royalists, and the Catholic Church. So somewhere between the reptilians and the Greys, who I think are biological robots, those two entities, the tall whites and the reptilians, are the ones that have no compassion for human beings. But they were allowed to test us by high vibrational ETs because somebody had to do it. If you give your child a beautiful planet like this and just full reign to act up and do like they want, they're going to lose consciousness on the prime objective of developing balance on the planet. And so, what these two entities, the tall whites and reptilians, were allowed to do is challenge us and force us to appreciate the balance of all humanity, all 144 different personalities that contribute to our whole. So, this is how we find out how,
Wait. Before you go too far. And this is part of, because I'm somewhat playing not devil's advocate today, but some level of advocate. When you say they were allowed to test us, that means somebody gave them permission, right?
Yes.
So, in your words, how do you describe that high vibrational entity or being?
So if you go back to the Genesis, all right, and the humans were in a Garden of Eden, which I call a laboratory, and in that Garden of Eden there was a serpent who was the reptilians, who was more subtle than the rest of the beasts in the garden. So this reptilian had animosity towards this new human experiment, based on the narrative in the Bible. So if you just apply a little critical thinking, that means that they were on this planet operating, but the pace that they were operating was not fast enough for these higher vibrational entities. So they shut them down as the dominant species. So that developed animosity between the reptilians and the new humanoid experiment. All right. So, and the example they gave, and even in the so-called Bible, was that they were cursed to crawl on their bellies. And so let's apply. You saw Jurassic Park. You saw a description of what a velociraptor would. So humans could not live in balance on this planet with velociraptors or T-Rexes walking around. So they had to be taken down, and the only reptilians that were allowed on the surface are ones that crawled on their belly, because we're bipedal and we can run a lot faster, and they gave us a equal chance of maintaining our dominance. So mostly the reptilians that were allowed were crocodiles, crocodiles, alligators, snakes, or very small scale lizards. But if there were larger scale lizards, so they had to be shut down. So was the reptilians angry about that? Did they develop some animosity? Yeah. So it was easier to get them to apply for the job. Yeah, I'd be glad to test these humans, because if we can talk them into giving up, we can take over our planet again.
All right.
Is that logical?
Well, me and you have, off camera we have way, heavier back and forth and dialogue about it. But I'll give you that for right now. All
right. So we got a very short amount of time. I want to go into the Requiem of the American Dream. So here's the thing that Noam Chomsky did. That he laid out the 10 steps for, he laid out the 10 steps for controlling the 10 principles of concentrated power. All right? Mm-hmm. All right. And so I'm going to go through these very quickly, because you're going to see how the reptilians and the tall whites were operating this program. Okay. All right. And how COVID was designed to intervene at this point in time to assist with concentration of wealth. Think about all these people are going out of business. They're being foreclosed on. So who's going to be buying up all their property in their businesses? The 1%ers. Mm-hmm. All right. So this is a weapon used by the 1%ers. The 1%ers don't want democracy. Democracy means that the common everyday man can influence policy. Mm-hmm. We're not influencing policy. Corporate America is influencing policy. One of the key symptoms of it is the cost to run for office. How are you going to spend millions of dollars to run for office that's going to only pay you $60,000, $70,000, or $100,000 a year? Mm-hmm. What's the logic behind that? So corporate America is making jacking up the price tag so high that the only people that can run for office is people that they sanction. That means they control the policy through that particular elected official. How I know this, I've read about it, I've seen it for the last 69 years on this planet, and just recently in my own home state, I saw two black politicians that were not able to approve a plan to help out small black businesses to work as a collective. They want them to stay as individuals so that they can target them, separate them, and manipulate them. But I was working on a plan to bring them all together as a collective so that they can survive. And these two politicians, they were black, could not participate in that. They were not allowed, and it was just it was horrible. So we want to create a scenario, and here's the deal: corporate America had to pay to get them in office because of the cost for running for office. So what we want to do is create a scenario where they don't have to be beholden to corporate America. They have to be beholden to their constituents. And that's the whole purpose of what UPA is. I do my commercial. Make sure that you go to UPAALL.com and sign up with us. We got people all over the world signing up with us now because, the world, the 99%, we need a representative to be able to confront these issues. One that has some what you call divine protection. And we have that with UPA. All of our officers, they are working on a policy. We're not in this to get rich. We're in this to make a better world for our children. So go to UPAALL.com, sign up with us, join us. If you don't have any money, just your signature, just to say I'm with you. It's strong. If you have some money, send money. It helps because we're going to fly to Washington or we're going to start organizing a local PAC. We need money. We need resources. So get involved. All right. So let's go into the 10 principles real quick. And this is a subject that's going to keep on going. One, we're going to have a guy coming in next week that's going to talk about the true effects that's happening on our children outside of the depression. And two, we're going to continue with these 10 principles of concentration of power. All right, the first one is reduce democracy. Yeah. So
say what now?
That's the first principle. Reduce democracy.
First principle of what? I'm sorry, what was that?
Of the 10 principles of concentrated power. How a small group of people control 90% of the wealth on the planet.
Yeah.
Okay. So they cannot allow a system of democracy where the people actually have a true word. They actually have true influence on policy.
We'll discuss this later on, but that's not what democracy means anyway.
All right. Okay. Shape the second principle is shape ideology. Okay. Mm-hmm. So through the various marketing programs, there are marketing techniques to turn humans against each other, to compete against each other, and so that's one of the pieces that they use constantly, and that's throughout two other principles. Other one is redesign the economy. All right, so the economy has been redesigned where the banks and controlling the narratives and the corporations. And one of the examples of it is even with Bush, Obama, all of them participated in bailouts for all these corporations. Mm-hmm. And I'm talking about trillions of dollars of bailout, where typically in a capitalistic system, if you put together a business plan and you fail, then you fail. You need to learn from that mistake, but you don't go apply for a welfare check, say my business failed, but I'm too big to fail. And so these three presidents, Bush, Reagan, Bush, and Obama bailed out a lot of these large corporations that failed. All right, that's part of redesign the economy.
Well, you still got a few more?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, we got shift the burden. Okay, so corporations used to pay a large percentage of the taxes to go into the budget, to help humanity. All right. The rich people used to pay a larger percentage of taxes. Now they're paying less, and they have shifted the burden to the common day, working day man and woman to pay the full burden, a majority of the burden of the taxes to support our economy. There's so many things that we can go in different instances, but I'm going to just give you the 10 principles. Yeah. Number 5, attack solidarity. So there's only in the private industry, only 7% of them have unions. Mm-hmm. All right. So if when a group of people get together and say, look, we want fair wages, we want equal opportunity, and we're going to do this through our union, the corporations have influenced the military and the police force to ostracize them anytime they try to get together and organize. All right. So that's one of the principles of how to keep concentrated power. All right. Let's see one other sample. Yeah. So the compassion. One of the things in attack solidarity is the compassion that men and women, humans, have for each other was driven out of us. Like one of the reasons, and this was said in Norm's documentary. He said, the people used to want to pay taxes because they want the child across the street to be able to go to school, but they changed that whole narrative with hate and no, your child is better, so you should be able to separate them. And that whole paradigm has happened. And also they've implemented a lot of defunding. And they've anytime you hear a politician talking about we're going to defund these different programs, what they're doing, when you defund a program, that means the program is going to break down and become ineffective. Mm-hmm. All right, just like all the public schools. And they've done that. There was a systemic agenda to defund all of these programs of humanitarian. And so this is why we're in a position. So we need our unions, and we need to stop defunding these programs because they're breaking down. Okay, it says run the regulators. So all the regulations that were put in place to protect the humans or the citizens of this country, all of that was compromised. I'm gonna go through these real quick because I see you guys have questions. Engineer number 7. Engineer elections. All right. So I talked about that earlier. The cost of elections is so expensive. You can't even get a decent politician. You got the only politicians they're gonna run are corrupt-minded politicians who will work with these corporations in exchange for favors. All right. That's under number 7. Number 8, keep the rabble in line. So again, that's the unions. Attack them. And that's where it was basically saying that 7% of the private workforce, they really worked on that piece. Mm-hmm. All right, manufacture consent. So they had to adjust the beliefs and attitudes. So corporate America created these various levels of quality products. Like, okay, why you got a Chevrolet, an Oldsmobile, and a Cadillac? So what they get different humans say, well, we're gonna pay you a little more so you can drive a Cadillac. We're gonna pay you a little bit more so you can drive, or less, you're gonna be driving an Oldsmobile. And so that created competition among the humans, and to the point where they can control and manipulate us. All right, and that was number 9. And number 10, marginalize the population. 70% of the population has no influence on political policy. 70%. Wow. All right. Okay. So those are the 10 principles. And so what we're going to do in our continued series is come up with more detail on each one of those so that we can get our new groups that are joining us, our ufology group, our leaders that are looking for a new way to work with different organizations to make a difference. We're going to deal with how we're going to address these issues. Also, all 10 of these issues, all 10 of these principles, anybody running for office, their platform should be, I'm going to reverse these 10 issues to the benefit of the people. And if that's not in their platform, they don't need to be elected. All right. And so that's why these conscious communities need to come together to understand. And we're not just talking, we know what the problems is, and we've been talking about it for so long. And we do understand anytime we try to come together, like these computers and listening devices, the 1%ers are smart enough to come in and divide and conquer you. So we're going to create a culture where if you are working with a program to save your children and you let them come in and compromise you, number one, if they come in and make you an offer, just walk away. Walk away and say, I'm not going to sabotage this organization. I'm going to walk away from it, but I'm not going to sabotage it.
Also, let it be known, because they're going to come at you in a vulnerable, from a vulnerable position. They're going to put your life on the big screen and look for a soft spot. In other words, something they may have against you and say, hey, we're going to attack you from this, prosecute you, expose you, whatever the case. But if you do what we want you to do, here's this paycheck. Now, what that is saying, he said, walk away. Now, but what helps with that is when you come to a collective, come to our collective and say, hey, y'all, they just came at me, though. They just came at me, offered me this, and then threatened me with this. I'm just putting it out there, so it won't be no surprises, first of all. And just to put the entire collective on notice that this was the move they just made.
All right, so how does your I always gonna ask you this, because that's the whole purpose of one of the benefits of this show is my generation, your generation. They're like 30 years apart. There's 3 generations between us. Okay, so
about 3 decades. Yeah.
3 decades. All right, so hearing these things, how they actually wrote a plan on how to keep you enslaved. How did your generation handle this?
Man, there's a lot of us, including me, we like on the forefront of making the smoothest transition and disconnect possible. When it comes to politics, we could fix the political arena, but we know it'll take 40 years. Based on the way it's set up now, based on the way so many people are conditioned to participate in it. Because remember, again, most of the time, when my generation thinks of politics, and I'm just saying, even though politics, this is not how it's supposed to be designed, but this is how my generation has been conditioned to think of politics by yours. We got to get up every day and make money some kind of way, right? If I'm voting, then in my mind, I'm voting for some type of benefit or allocation from our government that I feel like I cannot get on my own. That's what my generation votes for, if we gonna vote. All right. So, but after we've seen over and over and over and over again, there's a selection of politicians that that step up. The ones that seem most promising, either they don't get in or they only get in for one term. And then, one term is nowhere near enough time to make any type of change. We know that. We've seen that now. And I'm talking about 30-year-olds at this point, 30-plus-year-olds, 40-year-olds. So we see that this process keeps happening over and over and over again. And at this point, we're like, well, it's almost, my generation is almost split in between. Half of us are thinking voting, there's no point in voting. The other half of us are thinking, okay, so if I am going to vote, then I'm voting just to keep them from completely running the gambit and just allowing them to vote people in the office who have absolutely who have absolutely no interest in my future well-being.
So your generation don't have a sound plan on how you're going to escape this hamster wheel. And at this point, technically, you need our generation to run interference.
Well, almost like it. So if we're gonna look at your generation of run interference, you know, tell me this. You're gonna run interference how in the political arena? What are you going to vote for that is going to offer this? Because this is what we need. Particularly, just to outline some very basic resources. I'd say we need about 10,000 acres per city at the minimum. 10,000 acres a minimum. All right. We need our own manufacturing industry, our own agricultural industry. At the minimum.
Okay, so you need land from us.
Yeah.
All right.
Per major city, at least 10,000 acres.
Okay. And what else?
You need our own agricultural system and manufacturing. Agricultural industry and manufacturing industry.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
That has to be concentrated on for the next 20 years at minimum before we can really conceive moving beyond.
Well, we don't have 20 years because this decision in June that's being put before Congress, they're either going to BS us, the intelligence community is going to BS us to continue with the illusion of, we the only intelligent human species in the universe, and we're going to keep y'all going to work 40 hours a week to the age of 65, and then you die. Mm-hmm. And you reincarnate and come back. Oh. So to people from my generation, this is what my son's generation, he's 30, were you 35, 36?
Oh, I forgot. 35.
Okay. And I'm 69. All right. So what they need right now is, number one, leadership. A group of us need to come together, put together a fund. We got to do it with trust. If you feel like I feel, we only got, like, if you're 69 in my age group, you only got a few years left on this planet. So we can put together a pact to start building a fund to help these kids escape from this hamster wheel so that they can start restructuring our community. The other thing we need to do, and especially in alignment with these 10 principles, is by raising money, and believe me, getting rich so I can drive around in a fancy car is not my desire. My desire right now is, as a human being at this age, and understanding reincarnation is in the grade scenario, I don't want to have to repeat this grade. That means I've lived on this planet 69, maybe 80 years. And because I failed the test, I got to come back in the next life and do this all over again. I don't want to repeat this same scenario again. And so that's my motivation. So we need a group of elders to come together. Let's agree. We put together a fund. We put the proper instruments in place so nobody won't be embezzling money or doing anything crazy. Start creating these systems. The main system is all of our politicians have been compromised. Most of them, or let me say most of them, have been compromised. So in order to get them from being uncompromised, we need to list these statutes out, these principles, that they sign a pledge that I pledge to reverse these 10 principles of divide and conquer of our species. And if they don't sign that agreement, they don't get elected. So that's what my generation, we're at that point, we're getting ready, we understand mortality now.
Well, it's one thing if, so in the circumstance, because this is a very likely circumstance, you're going to get one politician who may agree to that. But you're not going to get all of them that's running.
So the ones that don't agree to it, we vote their asses out of office.
And replace them with who?
We replace them. So so what corporate America has done is made it too expensive to run for office without being compromised by corporate America, because they're going to influence you. So we have to create a system where a person can run the way Obama did. $5 here, $5 there. And build a grassroots movement to get our official in there. And it don't have to be that expensive. We got for right now, and our 1%ers control this network, so we can create our own network and put our own candidates in position based on their moral character and not their wealth. Is that making sense?
Kinda.
Okay, so all of you, I don't care what color you are, what religion you are, if you're in my generation or 2 generations behind me, if you want to make a difference, go to upall.com. We will initiate this movement. We will start putting these places. And if you don't want to do it with us, set up your own, and then we will partner with you. The partnership is the key. The reason they keep us all jacked up is because of the divide and conquer routine. If you feel that you're smarter, your degrees and PhDs won't allow you to partner or come work with us, then set up your own system, and then it might be the better system. We'll partner with you, but it must be done, because I don't care how many degrees or how smart you think you are. If we fail this test, we all repeat the grade.
Let me ask you this question, so it'll scale down and then give the audience at least something a little bit more tangible out of the dialogue we just had. So earlier I mentioned 10,000 acres. Although I know that is that's going to be difficult, right? But it's possible, but it'll be difficult. It's mandatory, but it'll be difficult. Manufacturing and that means all technology, all STEM manufacturing, basically, and agriculture. All right, so now we can do that on a smaller scale model right here. Right now, a model with 20 acres could work. So in the event that much more reachable and feasible project gets put on the table. Now, and you know what I'm talking about. Basically, we're talking about a small 20-acre self-sustainable microcosm. Very easy to do. Can probably be done with about $2 million, right? Now, in the event we do that, what would we need? And I'm not playing devil's advocate on this one. I truly don't know the answer to this one. What would we need from the political arena involved with that self-sustainable microcosm?
So the political arena, they're going to continue to be loyal to their corporate sponsors unless my generation, all of my ufologists, all of these new leaders that don't want to be a part of this game, we have to come together. We are the taxpayers. The only reason we're getting beat down is because we don't come together. So all we have to do is come together and say, this young man, or I don't care where you are located in this country, they desire to do something different. All you have to do is get your people to come to us and say, we want to do this. And then all of our collective, all of our people are signing up with us, all of the ufologist pages, all of those people that want to see a difference. Then we're going to sign a petition to you to get the land and the resources that you need. It's not complicated. The only complicated part is we our egos and pig-headedness, but right now it is not complicated. You can get 1 million acres right now. There's some people listening to us saying, oh, I got 40 acres right here, but and you guys can develop it. So we need you to contact us, upall.com, so that we can move forward with this. And then we're going to get the people in your generation for whatever area that it is, sit down, put on a seminar, and say, we're going to move forward with this. We got the land. Once you have a title or lease for the land, then we can go to the banking structures. We can go to the political people and say, we want our tax appropriations for this. Stop giving our money away to these special interest groups. Do it for our children. So it's not complicated. It's a real easy fix. The biggest problem, the only complication is egos. And a lot of people in my generation now, I believe they get it just by what we're saying right now. They get it.
I feel you.
Yeah.
Like you said, I know there's a lot of egos in your generation, but fortunately in mine, I've noticed there's a lot of families out there who want to do this, and I would say middle-aged families, where the heads of household are either 50, 40, or 30. They at this point, they're not looking at it like, hey, if we do this, and I got to be in the top rung, or I got to be the leader. That's not how they're looking at this. So that gives this concept some hope. So, like he said, those are the type of concepts that we are developing at UPA. Like you said, go to upaall.com, send us a message, send me a message to my personal inbox at Andre Hill Jr. on Facebook. I don't want to put so many degrees of separation between communicating with us. Communicate with us however you can, but either way, if you are privy, savvy, understanding these are the type of steps we're going to have to take right now, then go ahead and reach out to us.
All right, I got a closing statement especially for the ufologist group that are tuning in. All right, so Requiem means mass of mass for the repose of the souls of the dead, a mass for the dead, and also a solemn chant. So this is a little bit out of character for what it's saying, but here's something that if we're going to chant for the souls that are passed on and the souls that are still in bodies right now, here's the chant that we usually we need to repeat at least daily, and to ourselves in quiet. You don't have to stand out on the soapbox with a speaker, and basically say, to the Most High, we rebuke the agenda of yielding our planet to AI. We desire to return and embrace nature. And since we've been saying that, and since people have been listening to that, a lot of that placed the burden on the high vibrational ETs, because that sent a message to them that we are waking up and we're coming together. And do you know that I have just seen in some reports that a lot of these hate mongers, spin masters are starting to die? All right. And so when you release the pressure and the stress of how we're going to do this, all we have to demonstrate to the Most High is that we're going to love and respect each other. They'll start killing and destroying these mechanisms of enslavement. I'm seeing it happen right now. I'm going to read this one more time. Just chant. Just say to yourself. Write it down. We might even send it out to an email. To the Most High, we rebuke the agenda of yielding our planet to AI. That's artificial intelligence. We desire to return and embrace nature. Simple enough. And that will start unraveling. They'll start dropping like flies. All these politicians that's working for corporate America, they'll start having issues and problems with the material possessions that they are acquiring in exchange for their soul. It will start unraveling. That's a promise.
Hey, you know what? I'm sorry. We may have to do slightly extended show. KB, we sorry. We may do just a few more minutes.
And I want to add next week a third part when we get off the line. Something on here I don't want to forget about it. It's very, very, very important.
I don't know if y'all heard that or not, but KB, that our producer said she want to add something. So y'all make sure you tune in for that. But anyway, check this out. You want to know something interesting, Pops? About your topics today. Last night I watched two movies. One I watched called and they were like low budget movies, but they were written fairly well. There was one called the Dinosaur Project, which was something similar to Jurassic Park, because you hinted to that, or we were talking about reptilian. And but it was basically, and I'm not going to get too deep into this one. I'm going to get into the AI movie that I watched, which is the most interesting one. But basically, in the Dinosaur Project, it was a group of, excavators, I would say, whatever the case. They go to Africa, and mind you, some dinosaurs have popped up in Africa again. So they get this sister from like Ghana or something like that. That's a tour guide, and they go into like deep into the I can't say the jungle. It's not really a lot of jungles in Africa, but they go deep into Africa to where the dinosaurs is at, and they go in there and they get messed up. Basically, bottom line. But anyway, that's not the point. But the AI movie that I watched was very interesting because you know me, what I've been saying about artificial intelligence on the show for some time now, especially regarding movies. The more AI movies you watch, the more you start to realize the same outcome is the result of that. Which, you know, AI turns on them and starts killing folk. Now, and you know, my original concept was AI looks at humans and says, "Oh, you like a parasite to your own body. I gotta kill you." Right? That's essentially what AI say to you. It's like you're a parasite to your own planet. Either you need to be subjugated and cleansed, or you just got to be exterminated.
Absolutely. So that's the critical thinking. Okay, go ahead.
So, but this is another piece that this movie, it's called The Alpha Test. Anybody, you know, look it up. It is cheesy. It's a little bit low budget, but it's just interesting. Now, this is a movie about the young boy in the family. He worked at a company that was developing artificial intelligence robots, like assistants, like they were like, you know, like robots. They you know, pull them out of the box. They're walking around in your house, cleaning your carpet, you know, scrubbing your dishes, wiping your floors, all of that kind of stuff. It was like basically like an AI pet, right? They called it Alpha. But again, Alpha is artificial intelligence. She's designed to learn. You feel me? Now, the most interesting thing was, you know, this was a middle class Caucasian family. I don't know where they were, but what this robot was really picking up on was it wasn't about whether, you know, how parasitic the average American family is to the planet, but it was learning the social construct of humans. So in other words, it was looking at how we behave and saying, well, you know, y'all be lying, so why can't I lie? y'all be getting revenge on each other. Why can't I get revenge on somebody for talking crap to me?
Bad behavior to learn.
Right? And so by the end of this movie, it's to learn all of these human habits of, you know, social constructs. And at the end of the movie, the AI robot turned into a homicidal maniac and killed everybody in the family. Well, not everybody, but almost everybody in the family. Point I'm getting at is, you know, when we thinking about AI and we rushing so fast into it. Another thing, and I'm gonna let y'all know how fast we're rushing into AI. And I mean, you know, we thinking, you know, maybe 30 years to, you know, or 20 years to where we start seeing some really, really high tech artificial intelligence stuff, to where we talking about real driving cars, real robots walking around, driving around just like in the movies. Listen, tell you how close this is. I'm in school for environmental sustainability. I'll make this part quick. I'm in school for environmental sustainability. I got this class on innovation. Either way, we have a group project in the class, and we chose a topic of this community that's going to be built in Saudi Arabia. They're going to throw $500 billion into it. The Saudi king right now, or prince, whatever he is. He's about to put $500 billion worth of money into a mile-long community to where there's going to be no roads. It's going to be completely AI integrated. You feel me? So, and he's planning on doing this like in the next 5 to 10 years. Right? It'll be completely AI integrated. So just to give y'all some idea on how far out and how realistic this thing is, and this I want to call him a prince, but I actually think he's the king of Saudi Arabia. But he has the money to do it, and the entire Saudi nation, kingdom, they are investing heavily into artificial intelligence right now. So even if you know you don't see America jumping on that bandwagon, other parts of the world are right now.
They're gonna need us to come to their rescue when the machine starts turning on. So this has been the Straight Talk Morning Show. We went a little over. We're gonna continue to deal with these particular topics. We're gonna have some specifics. I encourage you to go check out Noam Chomsky and his Requiem for the American Dream, so you can get a feel of those principles. And, we are seriously working on getting a system where you can call in and talk about it. We need engineers. We need accounting people. We need, so when you go to upaall.com, put your name in, we're going to contact you. If you have skills, if you're not afraid of these mentally deranged psychotic maniacs that's working in the 1%, if you're not afraid of them and you want to be a part of this mission, this union, come join us. Bring your skills. We need skills. This is not a selfish agenda for us to get rich. This is all about one thing. My generation needs to leave this generation in shape so that if I have to come back through him, I don't want to come back to this madness of what's going on this planet right now. So if they're going to threaten me for that, then come for me. That's my piece.
So you're right.
This has been the Straight Talk Morning Show. We'll see you next week. We're going to have some extra people come in and talk about some true effects that's having on our kids. And we're going to have some continued dialogue on the Requiem for the American Dream.
All right.
That's it.
That's it.
Peace out.
Peace.